Hello and welcome to another episode of my Minecraft creative series. It is really good to see you here. Stuttering. Too many words trying to come out at once. I was going to say not that I can see you, but it's good that you're even here. So thank you for watching. I suppose you won't be able to tell because of my super low quality camera, unless you are watching in HD, which might have done something magic to it. I don't know. But I'm a little bit rosy, and I'm not sure exactly why. I don't know if it's because my brain's been going at like 100 miles per hour. But yeah, I'm jumping on and making another episode. You'll know if you watched the last episode that I did sort of predetermine what was going to happen in this one. Now, thank you if you did watch the last episode. Feel free to go back and watch it if you've not seen it. But I was working on what does end up being like the castle sort of like quarters, and by quarters I mean like living quarters. Maybe I should have said living quarters. Yeah, just go back and watch that episode if you're at all interested. But I also mentioned, as I have in the previous couple of videos, that I'm talking about doing this thing where I use like a randomness element to decide what's going to happen in my next video. And the first time I did that was in the previous video, and I determined that in this episode I was going to, well, I had to upgrade a shop because I rolled a 4. I had to upgrade a shop, and then I think I used Siri again. Did I use Siri? I can't remember. To tell me what episode to go and look at, to tell me like what. Oh no, it was just upgrade a shop. So I just chose what shop to do because obviously there basically weren't any shops in this village, which I did come up with a name for. What was the notification I saw on my phone? Because everything happens for a reason, right? So I got a random TikTok notification. Oh, where's it gone? Bear with me. I'm sure, unless I've got rid of it. What? Why is it not working? Right, okay. I bet it's under there. There we go. Right. So I got a random TikTok notification that says, and I get them all the time, I think they just want me to I don't know if anyone else gets them, but I think they want me to click on things and go on the app. I'm not bothered. They're wasting their time. TikTok does not really interest me very much. More of a YouTube gal. Obviously not a girl, and I'm not suggesting I identify as a girl. Just joking, purely just joking, not trying to offend anyone either. If you've got any problems with that, you know to let me know. Anyway, yeah, random TikTok notification, and it says, and I can't see the whole thing because it's too long, but it says, evacuation due to Waterville Dam. So I'm assuming it's Waterville Dam, but I don't actually know. Should I click on it? Shall I do what TikTok wants and click on it? I'm going to do it and see what it says. Let me turn the volume down in case it says anything inappropriate. TikTok will be very happy that I'm actually going back. Yeah, so it says evacuation due to Waterville Dam failure. So I don't know where Waterville actually is. Tennessee, by the looks of it. So it's somewhere in America. Now, I was aware that Foxby was not an actual place, but seeing Waterville made me think, should I call this place Waterville? But then I sort of thought, well, it doesn't actually have any water, but I know places are sometimes named after places even though they've got nothing to do with them. And I was sort of thinking, I don't know if I mentioned in the last episode, but I wanted to maybe something Valley. Should we call it Waterville Valley or Water Valley? I'm not really sure. Maybe I'm going to think about it. But I did think, because I had that notification, should I call it Waterville? I was like, is that a sign? But no, I don't know. We'll roll with it. Anyway, so at some point I've also got to predetermine what I'm going to do in the next episode. So I'll do that at some point. Should I do it now or at the end? I tell you what. I'll do it at the end, so it sort of gives you something worth waiting for towards the end. So if you want to know what's coming up in the next episode, you're either going to have to wait to watch till the end or skip to the end, which I wouldn't recommend or advise, because you're going to miss all of the exciting things that happen in this episode. And I must say, this episode, I think, is a really exciting one. So you know from the last episode that, I had to somehow upgrade a shop in this village, which I've not yet named. Potentially Waterville, we'll see. That was how Foxby ended up being called Foxby. We just had one and went rolling with it. But I know Waterville's an actual place, whereas Foxby wasn't somewhere I could find. Anyway, I had to upgrade some sort of shop in this village. Now, if you've been following along with the series, you'll know I've obviously built my train station, I've got my council building, there's something else I've put in the square. But I've sort of outlined where I wanted to have what I kept saying was going to be a fishmonger and a post office. So I'm working on the post office now, but it's the post office and the fishmonger that I really want to upgrade. And if you've again been following along, you might remember, or you'll see later in the episode, that there is space for a flat or something else above these two shops. So I do end up finishing that off too, and it ends up being a really, in my opinion, creative, exciting build. It just ends up being like, it is like a flat, but a flat with 2 floors, so more like, what do you even call it, like an apartment maybe? I don't know what's the difference between a flat and an apartment. I feel like apartments are fancier than flats, but maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just my culture, I don't know. So yeah, it does end up actually being like a 2-story apartment is what I'm going to call it, although it is sort of like a flat. What is the difference between a flat and an apartment? Maybe it's the size, I don't know. So yeah, you can see how I've sort of done the post office, but please feel free to stay tuned or fast forward if you really want to do that, but I'd rather you watch the whole thing, but you do you, because I can't control what you want to do, and you're going to do what you want to do, so just do what you want to do. Life's short. I would nearly swear then, using one of my mottos, but I'm trying not to swear and be a good boy. Anyway, yeah, please, I would recommend watching the whole video, because I've got so much to talk about in terms of what's actually happening in the video as well, not just rambling about my life. Like, there's things going on in the background now that I'm not narrating because I'm that busy saying all the things that I want to say. But yeah, I'd watch the whole thing, but you do what you want to do. Anyway, so I've decorated that post office. Things I just want to say about the post office. I know I've missed it now, and I'm not going to rewind because the episode's long enough as it is. You can always rewind if you want to. But I obviously put a counter in for the post office, made it red because that's what the post office like theming is, isn't it? Branding, what do you call it? I don't know. And I've done like a counter that has like a glass screen, which is obviously realistic for like security reasons. And I did try to really think along security lines as well. So I've got like it's their iron door with a button that you've got to use. So I imagine that's like a keypad that someone's got to put the code in or something like you would in real life. What else? I've obviously got these little signs that I'm using as like computers or tills. And I did try to sort of face those away from the customers because I thought obviously they can't be allowed to see what they want to see. And that's why I put 2 screens in the post office, because there's one that you can maybe sort of see. And there is another one that if you are a customer, you should not be able to see anything that is in that screen. So obviously anything private should go on there, like maybe, I don't know, how you get into the cash drawer or something. Whereas the other screen can be, like, for example, I've been to a post office before to deliver parcels for my mum, just like eBay stuff. She used to sell bits on eBay. And I can't remember what it was, but something, they weighed it and they swiveled the screen. Why can't I speak? It's like one of my tutor sessions where I've got all these things I want to say and I just keep talking rubbish. Which all my tutor sessions are not like that. Don't think that's what I'm like as a tutor, but if you are in my tutor, I'm hoping none of my tutees have found my YouTube channel, but if you have, I don't know, I was thinking earlier I'd love to be able to share it with them, but I understand why that's inappropriate and I don't want to get in any trouble either. That's particularly from like the school's point of view, because they have no control over what I'm putting on this YouTube channel. And I'm just grateful that like they've allowed me to do it, and I wouldn't want to say anything that the school disagrees with, and I hope I've not done that already. And if you want to know if I've done it, you're going to have to sift through all my videos, aren't you? But if you are from the academy and you're watching this because there's the potential that my videos could be harmful and you're worried about it, I want you to know that I'm doing this with the best of intentions, and I'm just really grateful that the academy are just like even allowing me to do it, which is fantastic, because, well, I hope you can see how much enjoyment I'm getting from it. And like I've said before, I don't really understand exactly what the harm is. I've mentioned some of the potential repercussions, but anyway, I'm spieling. So let me get back to what's going on in the video. This is the upstairs of the fishmongers. So all those white blocks are supposed to be like chest freezers, and they are obviously going in the upstairs above the fishmongers. I really like how I use the space in both of the properties eventually, both for the post office and for the fishmongers. Yeah, I just really love how it becomes like, it's obviously one building, maybe split into parts because it's like a complex. And I just really love how the space ends up falling together, and it's got me really excited for like how it might grow in the future. Now, I want to say, like, I do sort of like speed through it, and say I speed through it, I've got like I think it's a full like 50 minutes of recording. And also on that note, because I get lost on tangents, and my teacher's not always like this, I know when it's appropriate to say things and not appropriate to say things. And I hope you realise that from my videos. But anyway, going off on a tangent again. What was I actually going to say? I've actually forgot what I was saying, blooming heck. it's all right for you guys. You can just rewind it and see what I was talking about. And it's so annoying when if I do watch my videos back to see that that's what I talked about. It's like, how can you forget it a minute later? But you've got to bear in mind, like, things are coming out of my mouth like as fast as I can say them. But I wish somehow I could communicate all the ideas, because like as I'm saying it, like things are just popping into my head constantly. I hope I'm not giving you a headache by just going on and on and on. But yeah, there's just so much I want to say in the videos, particularly for this episode. I don't know why. There's just so much for me to narrate and want to talk about. So anyway, on that note, the bit that I'm working on now is obviously, if you've been following, it's like where the offices and staff complex for the train station is supposed to be. So I tried to make it sort of look the same. I've got these great big glass windows, and you can see I flew over just to the other side of the train station there to sort of make it fit with the rest of the building, because I don't want to finish the building off and it look completely different in one part to what it does in the other. I want it to sort of look like it's all part of the same building, if that makes sense, which I know is a real life thing as well. Like when extensions are added onto shops and stuff, part of the planning is that it's, you know, got to look like the rest of the building. So, but I think it'll flow better, and I don't want it to look like two separate buildings. I want it to look like one. So that's the kind of vibe that I go for in the end. I am going to fast forward now, as much as I've got plenty to say, because yeah, you're just going to see that it ends up being the same, and I'm hoping you don't want to see how that's done. If you do, well, you can go back and watch the episode where I upgrade that boring train station. So let me fast forward it a little bit to get something a bit more exciting. So it looks like I must have done what I was doing over there just for now, and then I've come over back to where the shops were. Now I'm just sort of trying to work out what bit to do next. Like I'm saying, ideas popping into my mind all the time. It's happening in the Minecraft world. So I just sort of fly around until I think, right, I can do that bit, I can do that bit. And eventually, in this episode, it does all come together, which is really good, because in some episodes, it doesn't come together, and you think, I'll just deal with it another time. So I'm really pleased that it does work out okay. You can see that I'm just sort of carrying on that stone theme across through and into the train station offices, which I think works really well, because otherwise it would just be like a giant brick wall with not much kind of like character to it. So I'm really pleased it does end up having character. I'm really pleased I just changed that block as well, because I was thinking that's annoying me. I don't know if it's everyone else's taste, but yeah, it was irritating me, so I'm pleased I changed that. If I don't do anything exciting in the next few seconds, I think I might fast forward again. It looks like I am still just upgrading that office bit, so I am going to fast forward because it's not very exciting to watch. As you can see, I keep flying back over to see what the old bit looks like and try and incorporate that into the new bit, which I think has turned out okay in the end. And you can see I've kept the roof the same. I do end up going for a flat roof on that bit. If you don't like it, please let me know. But that's what I go for. Obviously, offices normally have flat roofs. I don't know why. I assume maybe just cheaper, and there's no need for them to actually have what do they call it? I want to say a slant. I know that's not the proper word for it. Yeah, I can't think of the word. Anyway, let me fast forward again, because I think all I do in the next bit is just put those bottom ledges in so that they look the same, and then put some support so that they look the same. Let me fast forward. Okay, so I'm assuming I've sorted that station bit out, but you will get to see towards the end of the episode when I sum up sort of everything that we've seen so far. It looks like I'm copying. Right. So when I was going in here, I thought, there's no keypad or button to get back out of the fishmonger, which obviously is a problem. So it sorted that out, and I'm just sort of looking here to see, because obviously I wanted brick wall in there, and I went in the building because I really like to think sort of how does it look from the inside, how does it look from the outside, and what's the best of both worlds. And I decided I do make that window a bit smaller, because I think from in the fishmongers, and you can rewind if you've missed it, I don't need a window there, and even if there was a window there, I can't see a lot because of the rest of the structure. So to me, it just made sense to make it smaller. Now, I really like how that little area there feels, and I can just picture when I do some more to it, it is going to be like sort of a back alley that you would get in high streets and stuff, and it's sort of got that feel to it, and I really like it. I don't know why. You'll probably think I'm crazy, but like, this is what I mean. Architecture is my thing. It just gets me excited, like thinking about how things look and the spaces. I did have, and I hope I'm not going to regret saying this, like a wave of thought earlier about how, like, if a job came available in my school as like a science teacher, I wonder if I'd give it a go. Now, I don't mean this as any offence to like the maths department or whatever. I wonder if that's a plane that I've just spotted really high in the sky. Getting distracted. I don't think I've got ADHD. I think everyone has like ADHD tendencies sometimes. Yeah, it is a plane. That'll be a plane that's so high up. It's flying off that way. It's got to be above the sea. I wonder, I should know this, but I don't know what country is directly across, but it's going at a bit of an angle anyway, like direction of like Germany, I don't know. And if, like my partner, he tracks them sometimes, I could do that if I was really bothered, but I'm not that bothered. Anyway, got distracted. Yeah, no offence to like the maths department at where I work or anything, but I think, oh gosh, I'm going to offend some people, but the people in the science department just seem so fun. They're always like full of enthusiasm. They just seem like fun people. And it's not that the people in the maths department are boring. They're not boring at all. But yeah, I just think it would be fun to work in that science department. And also, like, I'm not being funny, I never ever, and again, no disrespect to anyone, I never ever see the science department like staying late. And I'm like, obviously, any teacher wants that, whereas you do see maths teachers staying late. Are we just a hard-working department? I'm not saying science isn't. Gosh, I need to be so careful because people just take things in whatever way they want to. I hope we can, in general, sort of assume that when I'm saying things, I'm not trying to offend anyone. If I'm trying to offend anyone, I will say it. And I hope you can see from my videos that I am, like, in my opinion, quite a genuine person. You might think otherwise. But yeah, just so true in everything I'm saying. There's no like fakeness about me at all or anything. And yeah, I hope that somehow I inspire other people to be the same, maybe have the same sort of thought process. Because I don't think it's a bad thought process. You might agree or disagree. Feel free to let me know. But gosh, I know I've got some amazing friends, and I think that's because we do have similar thought processes, or they love to listen to like my stories and me spiel on like this. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, I thought about if the position becomes available, maybe I could become a science teacher instead of a maths teacher one day. And I thought, well, I could use my maths to focus on like the maths part of it and maybe focus on physics. And I thought, well, if I love physics so much, like teaching it or whatever, or even just physics, the topics. I know I did when I was in school. I loved physics. It was just when I got to A level, it got like way too hard. If I do enjoy it, then maybe I should go back and pursue what was my original like teenage dream of becoming an architect. Be earning so much more money. Maybe I should just go for it. Like, what is stopping me apart from having? Well, I don't know. And I'm settled in what I'm doing, but I shouldn't be hypothesizing these things like for the world to see on YouTube. But I think it's cool that you can see sort of like what I'm thinking. Just in terms of what I'm doing in the video now, I'm adding a what do you call it? Like a rooftop window. It's definitely like a proper name for it. On this side of the building, and I do try to keep it the same size as those on the other side, just so that it's all got the same feel. I think that's the right thing to do. And you can see how I've placed it because I want you to be able to see the roof going up either side of the window. And that's obviously what I'm going to work on now, just adding that roof in. I quite like how it turns out in the end, but if you've got any suggestions about the design of it, feel free to let me know. As you know, otherwise I'm just going to do what I want to do. Just thank you to anyone that is actually watching the video at this point. I mean, I'm hoping there is someone. I think my last video got like 2 views, which is absolutely fine. The fact that even 2 people watch my videos makes me so happy. It just gives it that extra thing, rather than it just being me alone in my Minecraft world, that actually other people are going through this process with me. I'm very aware that everything I'm doing in this world is for me, but I hope you are also getting some kind of like entertainment out of it. Like, I know for me, if I was bored and wanted to just sit and watch something on YouTube, if I could find a series like this that I could really get into, like, I'd love to just sit and binge watch it if I've got the opportunity. Now, just on that note, like, it's Sunday, it's about 6 p.m. right now, and I really should be planning for the week ahead at work. But I have, as I mentioned in my last video, and that was a while ago, it's still not cleared, got a little bit of a headache and feel a bit tired. So I've been sort of umming and ahhing about what I should actually do with myself in the time that I've got, because I don't feel like planning with a headache at all, but obviously it's going to need to be done at some point. And the perfect opportunity is while my partner's at work as well, but yeah, it's not, as I kept saying to him, like when he was on his break and we were on the phone to each other, it's really not what you should have to do with your weekend. I'm sorry, like, I appreciate I have chose this job, but I should not have to slave away like 6 or even 7 days a week. But I understand as well that I'm salaried, so I have to meet the requirements of my job. But yeah, I'd love to know how many other teachers are planning at this time on Sunday. This is the thing, you just don't know. Like, am I supposed to be working harder, or am I supposed to be working easier than that? Like, I know there are some teachers that do like the bare minimum. I'm not saying that's at my academy either. I'm talking like maybe other academies. And they've potentially got like a lot better mental health than me. They're not as stressed out. They don't work as much. I did actually, interestingly, last year do some research into what is the optimum like work-life balance, because I was so interested, because I just knew that my work-life balance was off. I felt mentally unwell. I'm going to admit that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Hopefully nothing wrong with that. But yeah, mentally, my job, and it's feeling similar again, but I know I've got half term in 3 weeks, so there's like a light at the end of the tunnel. But yeah, I did some research into what was the optimum like work-life balance, and I think it suggested something like 7-hour shifts were the most in terms of like getting the most from work, but also looking after yourself. So that was interesting. And from then I thought, like, right, I'm going to strive to only work 7 hours a day so that my mental health can like recover and I can be as happy as can be. And it didn't work out that way. I think when I was working it out and tracking it, I was doing an average of about 9 hours a day, which is not bad. It could be a lot worse, but it could be a lot better as well. And you think teaching, you know, that a full day would be 5 lessons with tutor, so that should be 5.5 hours work. It sounds so easy, and it's really not that easy. And I don't mind like being fairly open about my workload and stuff, providing like I'm not going to get in any trouble for it, which I just don't know, and I don't want to ask about it. It's so awkward. But it doesn't seem. I don't know if it's common knowledge at work that YouTube is what I'm doing. Some of the students have found out, so it'll come round eventually. Just like when I ended up mentioning to a couple of people about my sexuality, eventually it made its way around the academy. It is going to do that. I did mention to my boss, like when I had the brainwave, about doing maths YouTube videos. I've still not started that. I keep thinking about it, but yeah, it's work. That's why I don't want to do it, because it's extra work. And I might be at some point in the future where like I've got everything I need planning wise for my job, and it's just a case of picking what's right or tweaking it a little bit. But yeah, gosh, I feel like I'm still working hard, but so far it's been the easiest year I've had so far, which is so good. And I must admit as well, behaviour wise, I've got some fantastic groups, and it's easy to say that, but obviously behaviour wise is down to how I manage that as a teacher as well. So it's not necessarily on the groups or the academy, just me as to whether I can manage a group better or not. But with experience, I'd like to think I'm getting better and better. I've said before, I think that I am always like a really reflective person. I'm constantly thinking, like even this, I'm thinking right now while I'm talking, is there anything I can do to make the video more exciting, or is it okay as it is? But I mean, yeah, I think it's okay. But again, feel free to give me your opinions, because obviously, like I've said, I want to make it entertaining for anyone that's watching, not just for me. But anyway, going back to sort of what's happening in the video, I guess, you can see I'm just adding the roof. Now, normally I wouldn't show on camera me doing the roofs unless it's quite quick, but I thought this roof was quite quirky, and I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to see how I do it, and it might also inspire you to do something in your Minecraft world. So yeah, I really want to just show that off. You can see there I was sort of thinking, is it right, is it not right? And like I mentioned earlier, I just sort of thought, oh, I'll deal with it later. And that's sort of how the build comes together. I'm not making myself focus on one bit all the time. Just what I remember as well, if anyone is still watching, I guess it'll be any loyal fans that are still watching, so thank you if you are still watching. I've noticed that it is like always raining in these worlds. Now, if you want me to toggle the rain and turn it off, please let me know, because I appreciate, like, firstly, it's dark and dingy. It probably reduces like frame rate and visibility, definitely visibility. So yeah, if you want me to turn that off, maybe I should again do a randomness element to it as to whether the rain's on or off. But it just seems to be on constantly, which doesn't seem right. I've never known anywhere in the world where it rains 24/7. I know it can feel like it, but it doesn't actually happen. Anyway, so yeah, if you want the rain turning off, please let me know and I'll do it. It doesn't really bother me, so I just leave it, because I think my videos do end up being a mix of like inside and outside, so it isn't too annoying. But maybe that's just me. Maybe it's really bothering you, and if it is, please let me know and I'll deal with it accordingly, shall we say. So you can see there I've just added the roof onto that train station office area. I'm aware I'm going to need some staff toilets in there, so I might have to block out part of the skylight, but it should be fine. I'm very aware that things like that in this episode are not finished. Look at the roof. I think I finished it off now, and I'm so glad because it looks so dodgy half done. And I think it looks all right in the end. But like I say, bits in this episode are not fully complete. Like I thought about adding signs for the post office and the fishmonger, and I've not done it. Like, and the upstairs of the post office, I mark out like where out the desk is and the sorting pigeonholes and things, but don't actually finish it off. So again, like if you want me to finish it off, please let me know. Otherwise, it might be down to that randomness element, and it's saying to come back. And if it says like upgrade a shop, then that's the sort of thing I'll do, I guess. It's interesting that I've done this because it's definitely going to encourage me to like finish things off, which I think just makes it so much more exciting. It just gives a bit more to the videos. I can't believe there's still 20 minutes of this recording left. Now, I want to say I think it's the longest recording I've done, but I don't know. I mentioned in the last episode that I did do an hour recording and it didn't work. And just off the back of that, particularly so I remember if I'm watching the video back, which I don't know if I will, I don't watch them back very often, particularly because I know what happens in them, so there's no kind of element of what happens next, whereas hopefully for you guys, it's like you don't know what's coming unless the title just gives it away. I need to be really careful with my titles because they can certainly either like make someone think, oh, I'm going to watch that, or think I'm not going to watch that. Like if it says building a shop and you think, oh, I don't want to watch someone build a shop, then you're just not going to click on the video. So yeah, I need to think about those really carefully. But why did I mention that? Well, there was a reason. Gosh, I'm going to have to watch this one back because that's two things I've forgotten what I was saying unless I remember. Oh, that's bothering me. That's really bothering me. So anyway, going back to what's happening in the video, you can see I'm sort of finishing off the roof. And as I've said, I would normally chop that out of the video, but I think for you guys, it really does just show you how I've done it, and it might inspire you to do something similar in one of your Minecraft worlds. Now, me personally, I know, like, if I see something really cool in the Minecraft world, and I really want it in my Minecraft world, like, I'll look at the video and think, I'm going to do something similar in my video. And even just architecture, as I said, like, even if it's just how that building, like, sticks out, or the apex roof, something like that, can completely inspire me to go and build something. So I'm hoping it maybe will do the same thing for someone else, but even if it doesn't, you're just watching as an entertainment factor. Just take a mental picture of that for later, and I'll explain why. But yeah, I'm hoping it, even if you're watching it for an entertainment factor, it's just got that entertainment factor. Now, the reason I said to take a mental picture of the side of that building, I'm just sort of looking at it and thinking if there's anything else I need to improve. And I do finish off the roof a bit later. And I think on the whole, like, I am happy with how it turns out. But I'm just admiring it there and deciding if there's anything else I need to do. But anyway, the reason I told you to take a mental picture of the side of this building is because for the apartment complex above, look how dingy it is. I know I do put lights in eventually. Maybe I do it now. Yeah, I start putting the lights in, which is good. Because we don't want it all dark and dingy, do we? Which, as well, to be fair, I've noticed it's getting quite dark in this room, but the camera looks pretty light. I'm aware it's probably I need a better camera. I'm going to save up for some new equipment, but I've gone over my budget for this week already, and my budget's meant to last till like Friday, so gosh, won't be buying it anytime soon. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the reason I told you to take a mental picture of the side of that building is because I end up changing it, and I really like the way it turns out, but feel free to let me know if you like it or not. Basically, for the apartment upstairs, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but I am going to say, in case it will keep you watching and keep you interested, but the apartment upstairs ends up being a 2-story apartment, which I think I've said, but I make it like quite open planned and big. Now, I don't end up decorating it because I guess time-wise on the video, there wasn't time in the video left, which is crazy because I thought maybe I'd have time to show you how I finished off the thing from the last episode, and it's just not happened. Which reminds me, I need to decide what's happening next episode. 16 minutes, I should be able to do it in that time. It looks like I'm going up to do the apartment now. I'm getting all excited because I know it turns out really nice. And it's really cool for me to now like go back and see what it looks like because I know what the finished product looks like. And it's just crazy to compare those two things in my mind. So, spoiler alert, I do end up making it like quite an open apartment. It's got like lots of light in it. And I do put massive windows on the side of the building, which is why I said take a mental picture because it does change. And you'll see like how it changes. Just there I'm deciding whether to put bricks or not, and I decide not to because then if I do get an aerial shot of the train station next door, it'll just look like there's a random brick block. And I do really care about things like that. I don't want there to be random blocks that just look out of place. I do like it to like look nice. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you're not bothered and you're thinking, shut up, it doesn't matter. But I'm just deciding here what to do with the space. Now, I look there and think, okay, there's definitely room to like put an extra room upstairs in the attic. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do it. It's going to make the apartment bigger. So then I decide where I'm just building now is where the staircase is going to go. So it sort of goes up above that little corridor, which is for the train station offices, and takes you upstairs to where the bedrooms are going to be. And I'll say bedrooms because it does end up being quite big. And I think I've got space, if necessary, to make like 3 bedrooms up there, which is insane. And I remember like when it gets a bit more complete, I'm looking at the apartment thinking, this is a really nice apartment, like with lots of character, and thinking like I wouldn't mind living in something like that myself. I've always like and ahed about whether I'd actually want an apartment, because for me, and I know everybody's different, but I'm quite big on like green spaces, and for me, I could not wait to have my own garden, because I love, like, one of my hobbies used to be gardening. It's sort of dwindling at this time of year, which is why I'm so glad I've found something else. But just on that note as well, like I went on holiday and came back and all my plants had just died, and it really put me off my gardening hobby. I'll probably start it up again next year because it is really an interest for me. But now it's getting colder, I don't really want to be outside, and all my plants have died. There's just no interest and enthusiasm for it there anymore. But anyway, the point of me saying that was, for me, when I was like house hunting and whatever, I was really thinking, could I manage with a flat? Because obviously flats are like quite a lot cheaper usually. Or do I want a house? And I thought, well, I would really like a house, particularly because, I mean, I wanted a garden. I really wanted an outside green space. And that's something that's quite important to me. So would I live in an apartment like this that's like above shops and stuff? I mean, if it could be in like Lincoln or something. I always think that, and I've not decided, and I've got years to decide, it's not urgent, but I always think about what I would like to do, like when I retire, and if I would move to a different town or something, because, I mean, I quite like Gainsborough, my partner's family's there, and it's just a nice little town, it's got character and stuff, and I like that it's a small town as well, it's not a big city, but then off the back of that, like, I would love to live in Lincoln because it's a big city and there's just so much to do there. But then would it make everywhere else seem inferior? I don't know. But then I could have just travelled to an even bigger city like London, Birmingham, oh my gosh. Because when I'm older, and if I've got the free time and the money and a decent car, like, why not? And I do think things would be very different if I did have a decent car, because a lot of the time now, if I rarely fancy a drive, but it's because I know that my car is dodgy. And if I go really far away, there's the risk of it breaking down. Like, yes, I've got recovery, but which, if you don't know, is like you can get brought back to your house from wherever you break down, which is really good. And I do pay for it, like £60 a year or something, but to me that's worth it. I'd hate to break down somewhere and not be able to get home, so really useful. Which, again, reminds me, I don't know if I've changed my address on my breakdown cover, but last time I used it, I had to use it last year because my car battery died. And it wasn't a problem, but I don't know if that's because they turned up and then I told them that was not my address anymore. But yeah, anyway, why am I talking about that? Just talking about travelling to different cities. Oh yeah, if I would live in a sort of apartment like this. So I end up really liking the character of the apartment, and I don't end up decorating it, but I really want to. So if I get one of those upgrade a house opportunities, this is definitely a contender, because I'd love to just do the interior and see like where the kitchen will go, because I've not decided. I mean, I've sort of thought about it in my head, but you know, when you get doing interiors, it sometimes changes, which on the back of that, like, if you are at all interested in how, or just interior design and how I lay out the space, please feel free to go back and watch a certain episode. Let me find it for you. I'll tell you what it's called, because I don't think it's got any views, and to me, like, it was quite an interesting thing to do. Like, I enjoyed doing it, but maybe people are not bothered about watching it, which is why it's got no views. So if it doesn't interest you, fine. But yeah, I think it's episode 11, and the title of it is Decorating the Interiors of My 10 Different Houses from episode 10. So if that sort of thing doesn't all appeal to you, please go back and watch the video that's titled, well, it's episode 11, and it says Decorating the Interiors of My 10 Different Houses from episode 10. Which has really got me thinking. I wonder if I should start every title with the episode number, just so it's really easy to identify. I mean, I've found a use for it, so maybe that's something I should start doing. And I could go back and rename all those, but anyway, if you're bothered, you'll go watch it, won't you? So I must be getting near the end of this now. It says I've got 11 minutes of recording left. You can just see I've opened up that and put nice big windows. It's a nice, open, light, airy space. And I was just thinking about how I can continue that up there, because I don't know if you've noticed, you must have noticed, but I've got like, I want to call it a skylight, but it's not. It's a bit like a balcony, isn't it? And I don't know what my plan for this building is. I'm just sort of winging it, as you can see. But I do end up like making it a bit bigger, so it's a bit more open. It just feels a bit more open, which I really like. I really like the way it is. I would love, 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 love to have a house that has got a bit of open space like that. I mean, it must be really hard to heat up. I know myself, because my house has got sort of like the stairs in the living room. So like if you try and warm up the living room, any heat from the living room just goes straight up, and it's really hard to warm up the living room. So yeah, it'd be really hard to heat a space like that, I imagine, unless you've got like underfloor heating or something. Maybe that's an option for me in my house that I've not thought of. But yeah, I think it's a lovely, really nice open space, and I can just imagine it being a nice place to live. It's got character, and just think without even the decor, like with the decor, and you could add even more character to it. But anyway, I'm just spieling about my personal interests. You can see I'm adding a bit of a balcony. I think it's the first property in this world to actually have a balcony, isn't it? I'm sure I've not got a balcony in any other properties in this world. And I just add some supports there, because I do like it to be realistic, but I do think it adds character and makes it look nice too. I've set it back one block like that because I think that looks best. And I just do the same at the other side, so I'm going to fast forward past that because it's not very exciting. And then I start putting like the edge of the balcony on, so I've gone for glass panes. I'm really not sure about those lanterns on the corners, but I think the bricks in the corners look right, just not the lanterns. Maybe I need to have them on like proper posts or something. But gosh, doesn't it look luxurious? I feel like compared to definitely some of my other smaller properties, like for an apartment or whatever, it's really got sort of a luxury feel to it. Now, I don't know if I end up blocking up. I'll just leave it because you won't know which bit I'm talking about. But there was a corner downstairs I'm not very happy with, so down there that I was just was pointing out there, not very happy with. So it looks like at this point I'm just sort of flying around deciding what to do next, which happens, doesn't it? So then it looks like, and it's cool because I've forgotten. I don't even remember what I do next. I've done so many things since then. Just put like a little glass railing sort of on the side there, and I do it there as well. So it really is sort of more of an open space rather than lots of walls and feeling dingy. And I think the fact it is an open space makes it feel a lot nicer. I really don't know what I'm doing next, so your guess is just as good as mine. Looks like I'm seeing if it looks right from the outside. Those pumpkins keep making me feel Halloweeny. I mean, I know they've been there ever since, but it was only yesterday I was with my partner and we saw some pumpkins for sale in Aldi, and he said, "Oh, that's the first place I've seen them." And I said, "Yeah, me too." And he actually said we should do some, and I sort of laid off because I thought, "Oh, it's too early. I'm not really bothered." But definitely at some point we'll do some pumpkin carving, and maybe I can talk about it on my vlog channel and show my pumpkin off to you. I do really like to try and get creative. I have got a grade C in A-level art, and I can understand why it's a C. I mean, my art is not fantastic, but I do like to get, I think, quite creative with my pumpkins. I mean, they're nothing outstanding, but they're not dead boring either. So it'd be nice to show off my pumpkin on my vlog channel, maybe. But yeah, I again have no idea what I'm doing next. Now, I'm getting near the end of the video, 6 minutes of this recording left. So what I'm going to do is use the randomness thing to decide what is going to happen in next episode. And then hopefully it'll help you decide if you want to watch it or not. So I don't know if it's a good idea or not. But if you are like anticipating another episode coming out, you can sort of know what's coming. And it might, hopefully, from... Like, I'm thinking if it was me, I'd be waiting for the episode to come out. So that's the sort of thing that I'm aiming for. But maybe it'll do the opposite and make you think, oh, I'm not going to tune in for that one. We will see. We will see. So I'm going to get Siri to pick a random number between 1 and 6. Just a reminder. And I need some sort of thing to, like, screen to show you, don't I? But 1 is destroy a building, and Siri will choose which building that is. Look at that. That's why I said take a mental picture. And I love that the balcony looks over the woodlands as well. But anyway, 1 is destroy a building. 2 is build a house, 3 is build a shop, 4 is upgrade a house, 5 is upgrade a shop, and 6 is build something in the other village. So next episode should be in the other village, but if I get a 6, it means I've got to stay in this village. So let's see what I get. Let's ask Siri. Hey Siri, Pick a number between 1 and 6. Gonna do it? It's going slow. Why is it going slow? We've got like super fast Wi-Fi. Okay.
The answer is 2.
So Siri has chosen 2, and 2 is build a house. So in the next episode, I will be building a house in the other village, which I've not named yet. So I appreciate house building maybe is not the most exciting things for people, but that's what Siri's determined. So that's at least what the episode will start with, and then maybe I can do something else in the episode too. Maybe I'll just build a bog standard house, and then I could always show off what I've done in that other village in terms of the king's quarters, living quarters. So yeah, you've got that to look forward to if you are at all following the series. Thank you so much just for tuning in and watching the video. If you did enjoy it at all, please give it a thumbs up, because then I'll know that people have enjoyed it and know to do that sort of thing. And then I might end up getting rid of the randomness element because I know people enjoy a certain thing. But otherwise, this is my final product. I wish I'd put some sort of signs to show what shot's what. So that's definitely something I need to add at some point. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. You know what to do. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. And hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. It won't be today. I don't think. I'm feeling pretty tired out. But I don't feel like doing my planning either. So goodness knows what I'm going to do with the time. Maybe I'll force myself to just plan one lesson or something. We will see. We will see. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this half as much as I am, because I'm loving it. And you know what to do if you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Thank you for watching.